Hey, what's up, y'all? Sorry, don't mean to yell. How y'all doing?
Hey guys.
Back again. I'm Robert.
And I'm Samantha. Welcome back to Cracked Vessels. It's our second episode.
Yes, it is our second episode. Listen, first episode was a doozy. We talked about, what did we talk about?
How we met. It was
How we
our
met,
anniversary.
right. And so now we're going off the deep end. We're going off the deep end now. Now we're talking about breaking up to grow up. Break up to grow up, right? I think it's healthy and refreshing to be able to be reflective and to look back on the journey that you've experienced. Yeah. We've been married 12 years, but together 19. And so we know a little something. Still learning every day, still getting better. But yeah, know a little something. And so I think it's imperative in order to move forward. You got to kind of pause, reflect, and see where you've come from, right?
Right.
It sounds so old.
No, but you're right.
Yeah, kind of see where you come from, and then be able to share some of those things, some of those experiences. Because when you're going through it, I'm speaking personally now from the time that we broke up.
Right.
When you go through it, it seems very, very volatile.
Yeah.
Very disruptive. Seems very unfair. You're angry, you're frustrated, you got tons of questions, but what you don't realize in the moment is that each of you still have a fair share of maturing and growing up to do. And so to not go through that process or to avoid that process is a disservice to both parties.
Yeah.
Right? It's a disservice to both parties. Like I said, we were married 19 years.
12 years.
12 years, Jesus. Together for 19.
Yeah.
And we've got a blended family, right? We're not going to talk about that on this episode, but we've got a blended family as well. But I'll say this, and then we can kind of get into it.
Sure.
We dated for like a year, right? From 2004 to 2005.
Okay.
And then we spent, after 05, she dumped me. And we'll get into that. She dumped me on top of a mountain in the town that she lived on. Why you would bring me up to the top of a mountain to give me a mountaintop experience only for me to want to feel like I want to jump off the mountain after you tell me what you need to tell me. Horrible person. Horrible. Who would do that? Who would do that?
It wasn't my intention
we were together,
for it to come up that way, guys.
Whatever. We were together for a year, and then we broke up for 2 years, and then we got back together in 2007. That's when Jayla showed up. Jayla got here in 2007.
Yes.
But the reason why, I think we were talking about this, the reason why we broke up, this is my story to tell.
I know, because I was going to share it, but he kind of just...
Go ahead. You know what?
No,
go ahead. No, you can go.
I think we both have our own renditions.
Yeah, I'll give mine, and then you can give yours. So I was pushing for excellence. I was pushing for greatness. I was pushing for next level, and she wasn't ready for any of that.
Well, you were still learning who you were as well.
I was.
Yeah.
But I went through a even more of a developmental process after you broke up with me, because it confirmed that I was on the right track, regardless of how you felt about it. But anyways, y'all, she had ended up pretty much kicking me to the curb because I was a pusher. I still am, very much so. I was pushing for excellence. I was pushing for greatness. I was pushing for self-discovery, and I wanted a partner that could do the same.
And tell them how old we were around this time.
I think I was 19 or 20.
That part.
A baby, right?
That part.
But I was focused. I knew what I wanted. I knew what I didn't want. And I knew that I wanted her. But she could not catch up with the vision quick enough.
Let me say this, because again, we were like 19 at the time. I would like to say this disclaimer. When you're that age, when you come from a household where your parents are kind of strict, and you're kind of like a relationship person and you're always with someone, sometimes you need that moment of freedom, that moment to figure out who you are. We were young, still young, but we were young at that time, younger at that time, and I feel like growing pains had to happen. And maybe at that time I didn't necessarily know how to share it that way, and perhaps it came off in a harsher way. But I even told him I wanted to remain friends.
Y'all, I am so unbothered by the story.
I have to laugh. Sorry, I get tickled because his rendition gets more dramatic every time he tells people.
Because it hurt.
And I'm sorry.
Because it hurt.
But the thing was, it hurt me too. However, I felt like, and I feel like I'm going to say this for myself, and I'm going to say this for anybody who is feeling this way. When you care about somebody, you don't want to make dumb mistakes to hurt them, even in a worse way. I'd rather you walk away, figure out what's happening with you, get yourself together, and then come back better.
You talking about you though?
Yeah, I'm talking about myself.
You talking about yourself?
I'm talking about myself.
Okay.
Yes,
because that's not how you position.
Okay, I'm talking about myself.
Okay.
But I'm just saying, whoever can relate to me at this time, because some people are in these relationships where they feel that maybe they're not necessarily in it at this time. And I'm not saying giving up is the way to go. However, if you feel as if you're going to make some rash decisions or do something that could really hurt the person long term, sometimes it's better to walk away or say, let's take a break, because you got to get yourself together and you got to make sure that you don't do something you'll regret. Does that make sense?
Certainly.
He's trying it, but I feel that makes sense because I do care, and I did care about him that much. But again, I was young and I didn't maybe necessarily know how to articulate it in the best way. But I knew I had to do that. And so to some that may be immature, but then to others it might be being the bigger person, because I was, at the same time, I was looking out for his feelings as well.
Y'all, let me share this. Thank you for looking out for my feelings. And when it happened, right? When the breakup happened, I believe she had called me a week or two later, and I was at home. I was relaxing. Let me say this: the breakup sparked something in me. It pushed me. I'm an extrovert, right? I'm an extroverted introvert, right?
Yeah.
And it pushed me in the area of being very introverted. So I intentionally changed the route that I took to the school. We were going to the same school at this time, right? I was going to a different school. Things didn't go well, so I had to transfer. We ended up at the same school, and I thought that this was going to be great, right? I was just like, oh man, I'm about to go to school with my girl, like blah, 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 blah. Crickets. I get there, and whatever, the breakup happens. I shouldn't say whatever, because there's stuff that
right.
happened.
Which we'll unpack along the way.
Sure. I think we were just too close, right? I think there was a great factor of mystery in that she saw me in pockets and not daily, right? I think that's when it became too real for you.
Sure.
Because now I was turning it on because I was trying to get back to a place, right?
Yeah, that's fair.
And so, but when the breakup happened, I think this is very important.
Mm-hmm.
I began to change my behavior. I changed the parking lot that I parked in. Mm-hmm. I changed the way that I walked into the school. Mm-hmm. I changed where I would hang out in between classes.
Yeah.
I didn't go to the CAF. The CAF was the big hangout at the time, and I literally took, I think, maybe like 2 semesters. Even before that happened. So here's what happened. In me changing my route, I was changing my route, and one day I was walking back to campus. I had left campus to go grab something to eat, I think, and I'm coming back, and I'm walking past the gymnasium. Walking past the gymnasium, and there's an incline. I'm climbing the hill, right? Which is metaphorical for I'm going somewhere. And who is walking down the hill? This one and him, the one whom I rescued her from, is walking down the hill, and they're going to the parking lot. I'm like, well, the classroom is in the parking lot. Nobody's class is in the parking lot. No class is in the parking lot. What are these fools? And I have to hold my peace and walk past them. I, to this day, can't even remember if I looked, if I said anything, or if I just went about my business. I think I saw them from a distance, and I was just like, stuck. There really needs to be an expletive there. I'm stuck. I gotta walk past them because this was the dude that I had whisked her away from just a year before. And my efforts for pushing for greatness pushed her right back into the arms of another. I was devastated, and I had to live with that. And so let me fast forward. So I go through that very uncomfortable experience, right?
Sure.
And what do I want to say there? That oftentimes,
yes.
Not to preach, right? But let's make a point. Oftentimes, when you are in a season and God is extracting you from it,
yes,
and it seems as if the people that you wanted around you can't go with you. It's a season in which He is separating you in preparation for what He wants to do next.
Sure.
Right. So I had to make sure that I did not get too consumed emotionally with what was happening, but really tap into where I needed to be or where I felt God was calling me to for this next season. And mind you, that's 19, 20, 21 years old. You're very young, very misguided, and you're just trying to make something happen. I've always had this mindset, just trying to make something happen, right? And so I kind of had to dive into that, and seeing you go backwards hurt me, but I knew that I couldn't go with you in that direction because it would in essence slow my own growth and development down.
Sure. And
so I had to respectfully relinquish, right, the desire that I had for you in that season, because to stay in that space would have been holding my own future hostage. Now, let me say this.
I have a lot to say.
I do have a lot to say. I have a lot to say. And so
this is important for somebody who's healing right now.
And so what happened, I think it was 2 weeks after we had broke up, she had the audacity to call my phone. Okay? The audacity to call my phone.
Because I still cared.
I'm telling my story. It's my truth. To call my phone and check on me. You hurt me. Who does that? Who breaks up with somebody and then turns around to call them to see how they're doing?
I wanted to make sure you're okay.
That's sick. You're the reason I'm not okay, and you want to call me to see if I am okay. It's backwards, y'all. It's toxic.
I'm still working.
It was a toxic trait. It was toxic then, and it's toxic now. Don't let people do that. When they break up with you,
now
they lose my number, throw it in the Grand Canyon. Don't call. So here's what happened. She called.
We've been married for 12 years.
You're right. She called, and I because I needed to not allow her decision to hold me hostage. I needed to move forward. Okay.
So he was shady towards me.
I needed to move forward.
Let's just say that.
I needed closure. And so what I said to her, she's, oh, hey, I pick up the phone, hey, just calling to check on you. Blah, blah, blah. Hope everything's okay. Leave me alone. I say to her, because I'm hurt, right? And I was very wounded, bleeding, right? I said, hey, I just wanted to let you know that if I had to do this all over again, I don't think I'd pick you. I wouldn't do this with you.
And I felt that. He said that, and I was like, it hurt me, but I was like, dang, like that's all. I felt like it was like, for me when he said that, I was like, was it all a waste? Did he really mean that? It really hurt me. But as time went on, I obviously realized that he was coming from a place of hurt. And I mean, I sit
Was
here.
it?
Okay.
Was it a place of hurt?
Yes.
That's what you're defining it as?
Yes.
Okay.
You just said
could it have, or could it have been a place of clarity?
No, because I'm sitting here with you today.
Child,
so
please.
you didn't really. So why do we share these stories? We share these stories because not just to sit here and tell our business, but we share these stories to let you know that you're not crazy if this has happened to you. And we also share it to hopefully encourage somebody, something that maybe we say something for you in your relationship that may hit home or maybe make you look at things differently, things maybe you wouldn't do.
Or give you some comedic relief,
right,
in your season of healing, or in your season of singleness, right?
Right.
That I think it developed us both, right?
Yes, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah, there was a lot of growth and development that happened, and isolation is the only thing that brought that, right?
Yes.
If we were together, then we would not have learned what we learned about ourselves individually,
right?
And so we got back together. Yes. Excuse me. Yes, we had a lot of things that we needed to work on.
Yeah.
Because we were still so young.
Right.
We got married. You were 24. We were both 24 when we got married. I turned
Actually,
25.
I was 23.
Okay, sorry. You were 23. I was 24. Whatever. Still super young, right? Very, very young.
Yeah.
And if I had to do it all over again, I think I may have waited a little bit longer.
Sure.
To get a little more established.
Sure.
From a career standpoint, and just a career and maturity standpoint before jumping into it.
Sure.
Because if you're not prepared to do life with someone, if you're not whole, it is impossible to completely show up for someone else inside of a healthy relationship.
Yeah.
Whether it's life partner, whether it's marriage, long-term relationship, if you're not completely whole, it is difficult, damn near impossible, to show up for somebody else.
Yes, it feels like it's impossible, but it's not impossible. I feel like it's possible, but it's just a lot more work to put into it. And either way, it's a lot of work to put into a relationship each and every day, because you have to literally choose each other every day. But like you said, I feel like the work is just even extra hard because you're trying to figure out who you are while being with somebody who married you for who you are. So that's that, yeah. So I wouldn't say it's impossible because we're still sitting here today. Would you not agree? I guess there's another way.
I mean, it's not that I don't agree. I just think it's really hard. I think it's difficult.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that because of the era that we live in now, where it's easier for people to walk away and to scrap it and to say, hey, it just didn't work. That's why I say it's difficult. I think the cloth we're cut from is very different. It's a very different cloth from what people are made of now, because there's so many options. We got together at the beginning of Facebook taking off. Tinder was never a thing. Instagram was never a thing. Social media was never as prevalent as it is now. Sure. I think people move from relationship or experience to experience because there are so many more options. If I don't like you, I swipe in the opposite direction. I ghost you. I don't talk to you. I lose your number. I don't return your text, or I don't pick up your phone call. Right? There's so many other ways where you can move on into another situationship or situation without necessarily giving the other person or even yourself the satisfaction of closure. People just move on, and there's no explanation. There's no reasoning. There's no, hey, this is what I'm looking for. It's.
And I feel like, not to cut you up, I feel like it's
you
dangerous.
did, but go ahead.
I did, because I felt like you're all the way.
I was.
Okay, go ahead.
No, I'm done.
I would just say that I get what you're saying, and you're absolutely right. I just feel like it's also dangerous though, because then how can you ever really give somebody a full chance? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we're saying the same thing.
Oh, okay.
Remember, I was walking up the hill. She was walking down the hill. Which is to suggest that I'm always going in a direction that exerts more energy.
I love how he's so building me up in this moment. He's not. I'm being very sarcastic. But I definitely agree with what you were saying. My hope is that this would encourage somebody who feels like it's just easy to give up, that they don't necessarily give up. It's not saying if you give up that you're less than or you didn't try hard enough. Sometimes you have tried all you can and it just doesn't work, and that's okay too. But if you have not tried and you're just kind of just frustrated, and rather than dealing with it and really working, like really putting things in place to really try to make it work. Oh my gosh, I lost my thought. I would say really try, really do all that you can do before you get to that point, because you don't want to make marriage seem so transactional. You know what I mean?
Marriage or relationships.
Or relationships,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So, but sometimes some people's relationship skills are just simply trash.
Yeah.
They just because, and it has nothing to do with marriage or anything like that.
You're
Or
just saying relationships.
yeah, people. I think sometimes people just struggle with healthy relationships.
Got it.
Right. I can only give what I've seen. Right. I can
Sure.
only exhibit what I've been shown. And so if I don't have a good example of a healthy, life-giving relationship, then there's very little expectation or skill set available to me to be able to do that. So I think a lot of people break up and they miss the opportunity to grow up.
That's it.
Right?
That's it. Yeah.
Because I'm not addressing or taking accountability for my own actions or my own emotions or my own anything, right?
Yeah.
I don't like this person. They did this or they did that.
And they don't look at themselves anyway.
Correct.
Would have done better.
Yep. There's no self-reflection.
Sure.
To say, hey, well, maybe it's me. Maybe it's not. You know what I mean? And so
Because it can be both of us.
right.
Yeah.
I think people sometimes lack empathy, and they lack patience as it pertains to being present in a relationship.
Sure.
And when you're not patient and when you're not accountable, then you just listen. You're gonna fly by the seat of your pants. If it doesn't work, I'm cool. I'll go on to the next person. I'll be all right. If we see each other, we see each other. If we don't, we don't. It's cool. And so I think for us, the breakup was necessary.
Yeah.
It had to happen.
Yeah.
It's critically important that it happened because it prepared us to be parents and to be partners.
Yeah.
And to know what long suffering looks like.
I'm gonna say to know that we can make it through. If we made it through that, we can make it through anything. Do you mean that? There's a in his whole. There's a paragraph in his.
We're still standing. By the grace of God, we're still here.
He makes it seem so sad.
He's been so good to me.
We'll pray for that. But anyhow, I hope that this was helpful to someone.
Can I highlight something real quick?
Yeah, go for it.
And then I'll give it to you so you can close it.
Okay.
Oftentimes, God will do addition through subtraction. By that I mean, there was more in the formation of our relationship. There was more time that we spent apart than we did together for the breakup. We were together for a year. We were separated for 2 years.
Right.
And so if we allowed the duration of the separation to determine our ability to get back together, right?
Yeah.
Then we would have hung it up a long time ago.
Sure.
Right? Because we said, 2 years passed and he's probably moved on. And I did move on. He's probably moved on. He's probably happy somewhere else. Yada, 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 yada. It's not going to work. She moved on as well. We'll share that in another episode. Because you need a teaser to come back. But yeah, so yeah, we spent 2 years together. No, 2 years apart, 1 year together, and God just kind of dealt with both of us separately.
Yeah.
For real. I'm sorry. You can say I'm done. I'm done talking now. I'm talking.
So we hope that by us being transparent with you all in this episode of Break Up to Grow Up, we hope that we were able to, in our transparency.
It's an episode of Cracked Vessels. That's the name of the podcast, right?
Yes, but we were talking about breaking up to grow up.
Okay. Yeah.
So in our transparency of us talking about our time apart, hopefully it maybe met you where you and your partner are, or perhaps you're in the middle of that and you really are thinking about what you lost and how to get it back. So,
or you got a friend that's trash at relationships.
We're gonna pray for him.
The friend is you. The friend is you. That's your friend. Is you. You're the friend. You're the friend. You are the friend.
He says that with love. Anywho, guys, I hope that you have enjoyed this episode. There's more to come as we break down our lives and give little nuggets to you, hoping that it inspires you, maybe helps you look at life differently, maybe move differently. But please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel.
Yeah.
We do
that.
We do ministry together.
Tell your mama.
Entrepreneurship together.
Tell your grandma.
So we just want you to
Tell
know
your aunt and your uncle.
Who it is that you have been watching since.
Tell your friend's baby mama.
All these years. And if you know meeting us for the first time, we're silly, and it only gets better from here. So again,
it's going up from here.
Again, I'm Samantha Woods.
Rob Woods.
And this is another episode of Cracked Vessels.
Signing out. Be well.
Next time.
Bye-bye. Peace and blessings. Good night. Good afternoon.
Good night, guys.
Good evening.
Bye.
Adios.